decided to share this bonus episode outside of my Spiritual Integration Sanctuary membership group as a token of my gratitude to those of you who've been listening to the show and to assist with some of these difficult energies we're dealing with in this time. If you'd like more bonus content and access to the meditations and activations that I offer each week for my membership group, please check out the Spiritual Integration Sanctuary. It's a place where like-hearted individuals can communicate and build community together. It also offers some unique discounts and exclusive access to content like this episode I'm sharing today. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wind Down Wednesdays. I'm your host, Paula Taylor. This is mini episode 15. We're going to do a new moon card pull today. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because this time feels really important. It feels like we're on the edge of something. Maybe we're on the edge of a timeline shift. And we just need enough people to expand into this 5D space, this more loving, more unconditional, more inclusive space. We just need like enough people to expand into this space to kind of reach, to tip over this edge. And it's easy sometimes to feel, I've had this feeling on and off since 2016, that I was in the wrong timeline. Whatever wrong means, that's a 3D term, right? Right, wrong, black, white, yes, no. We've talked about that a lot. But I feel like we're on the edge of moving into a more expansive timeline, a more loving timeline, an easier timeline, a less frightening timeline. And everything is a choice. And I have been working really hard, I guess, to choose expansion. My affirmation for a while now has been, I trust the universe and I choose to expand in each moment. But it's not an easy thing to do, especially when what's being reflected back to us on the macro seems so fearful and so chaotic and a little bit hopeless. I think it just started raining. It hasn't rained here. Like, the signs, please be signs. I really want to be right about this. So I'm going to pull some cards today, and I'm calling this a new moon card pull, but this feels like, man, I'm having a hard time talking. This feels really vulnerable. That's part of it. This feels like more than a new moon card pull. I feel like I'm doing a card pull to help us figure out how to get this shift to happen. We've been so close collectively to this expansion for a while now. And again, I'm calling out 2016 as the first time I started to kind of like notice this more. But I think it's probably been a lot longer than that. I think as more and more people wake up, more and more people are finally understanding this and reflecting this. We really are energetic beings who create our reality. And I believe that is true no matter what timeline we're in. So if enough of us choose to expand, choose to live with love, choose to be inclusive, choose to let go of the fear of otherness, because there is no such thing as otherness. We are all one. Truly, on a quantum level, we are all one. And this division and this, it's like the last gasp of somebody who doesn't want to let go of something, kind of clinging to it even more. And what is being clung to, that's a word, is the rigidness of the 3D. And that divisiveness that we're seeing is a reflection of that. It's a reflection of the resistance, the collective resistance to move into this expanded space. And I understand it because resistance is hard. Everybody has resistance. What I don't understand is how people cannot see, cannot trust that the expansion is for the highest good. It is for our most benevolent, our highest good, to choose expansion, to let go of division, to let go of these deeply ingrained either or, black or white 3D systems, ideas. And I know there are a lot of us who are setting the intention to do so. And I just hope and pray and intend that enough people are willing to have the trust it takes to allow us to step into this expansion. So I'm going to pull a few cards from a few different decks today. I'm going to pull 3 cards, I think, from the Elemental, and then 3 cards from this Gateway of Light activation. And the last thing I'll say, or kind of what I'll say while I'm getting ready to pull these cards, is that last night I had a Sacred Sound journey here in Tucson, and there were 4 people there, and it felt really different. And everybody there commented on that, sort of independent of each other. 3 of the people there have been to many of my sound journeys, and there was one person who had been to maybe 1 or 2 before, and then of course I've been to all of them. And there was something really different in the energy that was coming in. There was something different in the depth and the power and the expansion. And it's another reason why I know that we're on the edge of something if we can just push through that veil of fear, of deception, of darkness, for lack of a better term, of opacity. That's the term. It's like muddiness. Muddy water is not easily seen through. It's more opaque. Clear water, you can see all the way to the bottom. So it's not the darkness that's the issue necessarily. It's the opacity. It's the muddiness. So this is my new moon / for the love of God, are we going into another timeline? And please say yes. Card pull. And we're starting with this Elemental Oracle. And I feel like I need to move the cards just a little bit because I got off on a tangent. We've got, nope, I'm going to talk about them one at a time. Sorry, when I'm channeling, sometimes my speech is a little weird because I'm like listening to what's coming in and then also trying to speak. So the first card we have is Storms. And it says cleansing in tiny little letters there at the bottom. And I laughed when this came out because of everything that I've been saying. Is like, as soon as I saw this, it was like a little aha. And it was kind of like, when you're in the middle of the storm, it feels scary. It feels rough. When I was a kid, there was a lightning storm one night. My sisters and I shared the top floor, this little tiny, almost like an attic floor with the like sloped ceilings and everything. And it wasn't really raining, but it was like lightning over and over and over and over. And the lightning was like striking very close. And I remember thinking if a tree fell on the house, like we would be toast because we were on the top floor. So I woke my sisters up and I took them downstairs. And I remember kind of waking my parents up and they were like, oh, it's just a storm, go back to sleep. Like, because they had the sort of perspective to understand that storms aren't always as dangerous as they feel or appear. And of course we ended up being fine. We sort of stayed, we had a little sleepover in our den, like our living room. So when I saw this card, when I pulled this card and I didn't actually see that it said cleansing. Before I saw that, I thought about this idea that after the storm, there's a newness. And a lot of things might be destroyed, but that is where we have to begin building anew. We've had a really intense last few moon cycles to the point that I did not think we were going to get like the new moon kind of low, or like, not a low, it's like the calm, the new moon calm, sort of where the energy calms down enough so that you can like take a few breaths and make your intention for the next moon cycle. And then like right at the last minute, it was like, whew, and the energy just sort of like, it's been really calm the last few days. And that is when we sort of take stock. And after the storm, when you look around and you're like, oh, whew, like what's still standing? Is the house still there? How does everything look? Every once in a while we have bad monsoons here. We get things like hail. And then after the hail, you're going out and you're trying to see, like, is your car damaged? Is the roof damaged? Things like that. So these last couple of moon cycles have had a lot of this chaotic energy, this storm-like energy, because we needed cleansing on a personal level and then on a collective level. And then again, I believe this is speaking to this broader question right now of like, what is happening? What is going on? Where are we going? Are we going anywhere good? All of these kinds of things. I feel like this reading is, again, the macro reflects the micro. So we might be talking about the new moon. We're also talking about all of the energy leading up till now and like where we're going in the future. And if you notice in this picture, I don't have great light in here today, but there's a woman here. She's sort of being held in this large palm. And she's lighting up. She's kind of glowing up. I'm just going to let that lie and we may come back to it. So the next card we got was fire. This card says ignition. So after the storm, after things get destroyed, we have to start over, right? We have to light a fire. One of the things that I've noticed in the last few days as this kind of shift is happening, there remains a lot of heaviness in the collective, but there was a lot of heaviness in the individual energy that I was encountering, including my own and the people I was seeing. But I did a lot of sleeping the last few weeks and not really being quote unquote productive because I just didn't have it in me. It was like the storm sort of knocked me down and I had to kind of rest. So now we begin the ignition, and the new moon is the ignition. It's the beginning of the next cycle. But again, there's a bunch of really cool sacred geometry up here. And if you notice, there's a woman in this card who's kind of glowing from the front. We can't see exactly where in the front of her body. In this card, it's a little more clear that something's going on at the sacral here. That's the chakra of creation, right? So after the storm clears, we have to ignite. We have to figure out what comes next. That holds for the next moon cycle. Like, what are my intentions? What am I calling in? What is the energy? What is the sacred geometry that I want to create with my intentions? But also, again, the macro that reflects the micro. So like on a larger scale, like where are we going? What are we doing? How do we channel this sacred creative energy in a way that will actually serve and not destroy? Because fire, as we have seen in the last few years and the last few months especially, fire has the capacity to destroy just as much or even more than the storm itself. So how do we harness fire in a way that allows for this sacredness, this sacred ignition? There's a bunch of Merkabas or Merkabas, depending on how you say it, in this image. There's a bunch of circles. And then there's just sort of, again, there's this sense of something beginning. So then the third card I got says oceans. And then I'm kind of sighing because above that it says bravery. And this feels, again, there's a macro in this reading that is almost more potent than the new moon part. But like, where are we going? We are on the precipice. I've been saying that, like, every time I always see this card, and a lot of times in this card, like, I get this, sometimes I get like a climate change thing, but like right now it's coming through, like we really are on the edge of something. We really are at a turning point. And it's going to take a lot of bravery to move through this storm, to find the fire to ignite. Because I don't know about you, but I'm tired. Like, I'm tired. This reality is tiring. Continually being dealt blows of kind of people collectively not choosing expansion is tiring. And so not only do we need to ignite the fire to move ahead, but we need to have a lot of courage because we can't see where we're going. And in a moon cycle, kind of in a more micro way, in a smaller way, we haven't been able to predict the energy for quite a while now. The moon cycle used to have a pretty predictable up and down. It was like we head up to the full moon, there's activation, the shadow work comes, and it's, it's kind of that condensed energy. And then, there's the relaxation of the new moon. And then we start it all over again. What I've been noticing, especially the past few moon cycles, is that these cycles are less predictable. Like I said, I didn't think we were going to get a new moon energy essentially at all. And then it showed up like on the day of the new moon or like the day before. It was like we were getting an activation 2 or 3 days before the new moon, like the full moon, except we were almost at the new moon. The energy is really intense. It is like a storm. What does the storm do to the ocean? It causes big waves. It causes a lot of disruption. It causes floods. It causes fear. And again, interestingly, in this image, she is glowing kind of at the sacral. So there is a message here about creating with intention in spite of fear. Allowing ignition alongside the fear. Trusting, here she is balanced on the edge of this tiny little world in this ocean that does not look particularly calm. And all she can do is trust in her own inner light, in her light of creation, in her own power. So let's move on to this Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. See what this has to say. This is an interesting message, and I knew it would be. Haven't done a card pull for a while for the show. I mean, I pull cards for myself a lot, but I hadn't even done that for a while until recently, till the last week or so. And it's always interesting to me how these cards kind of line up. So I think we're doing 3 and 3, but we'll sort of see what comes out here. I cannot make this stuff up. All right, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and pull all 3. Ooh, interesting. Wow, and it is always so interesting to me when I pair decks, and especially this Elemental Oracle, like how the cards kind of line up. So I laughed because the first card is a Merkaba or Merkaba activation. Like, could not make that up, just mentioned it. It's in the second image of that Fire Ignite card. And at the bottom, this says Transcendence, Ascension, you are rising up. And it's very interesting. The Soundjourney I did last night had a Merkaba or Merkaba on it around the star. It was around the heart. I'm sorry. Stargate Heart was the name of the card. So to me, this is, I'm going to pair these cards, and it's interesting. They all sort of go with each other, but sometimes I like to kind of show them in parallel, like first card to first card. So in this first card from the Elemental, we have this intense storm. And then we've got this light, and we don't know, there's a lot of light. We're not quite sure what it is. And then this to me feels like this is the close-up. So if we could see the front of this woman, we can only see her from the back. And we zoomed in, this is what we would see in that light, is this Merkaba or Merkaba. And to me, this is confirmation. This is about transcendence. This is about ascension. We are rising up. So again, there is a strong message coming in here, like, do not trust the muddiness. Do not trust the opacity. Don't trust the fear. Focus on the expansion. Focus on the light. Focus on the ascension, transcendence. Remember, we are rising up. You know how I feel about that term probably, but, excuse me. We are expanding. Man, I've been sneezing a lot too. The weather keeps changing here. So we may come back to that. Let's go to the second card. So the second card is these Thoth light codes, and it says light initiation, great teacher awakening, and divine magic. So when we pair these cards, I was talking about the ignition and the fire. I'm gonna sneeze again, maybe at the worst possible moment. And I was asking, these sneezes feel a little bit like confirmation, which is kind of funny. I was asking, like, where do we find the fire? Because we're tired. I'm tired. I know I'm tired. And the answer is we don't have to do it alone. The answer is there's a great teacher awakening. There's a light initiation, which we saw in the first card. And there's an increase of divine magic. And I've seen it. I can feel it. I can see it. I can hear it. As we go through this shift that feels so uncomfortable and so unsure, the veil is thinning. And there is more access to magic than there ever has been. There's more access to light than there ever has been. There's more people awakening to the fact that these are even things to be interested in. So when I feel like I asked that question, like, where do we get the fire? Because it feels like the fire is going out for a lot of us. And it's through this light. It's through this divine light. And it's through the awakening of more teachers. A lot of us have been doing this work for a long time. I've been doing this work professionally for 20 plus years now. Personally for about 30. And it's hard. I'm like laughing because I don't feel that old, but you know, what is time? And there have been many times when I have felt like I was doing this alone, really have been doing this alone, felt like I was kind of screaming into a void, and really probably was sort of screaming into a void because there just was not, the resonance wasn't there for enough people. And that is changing. And that is the hope. The hope is that enough people are going to start awakening, that we will support each other, that we will support this light initiation, that we will have access to this divine magic. The other thing I'm just going to point out in these cards, there's a lot of circles in these cards, almost like every card but the first one out of all 6 has a circle. So we've got the circle of kind of the sacred geometry, and then this overall sort of arc that looks kind of like a half circle. And then there's a circle behind this figure in this Thoth light codes. It does feel a little bit like things are coming full circle. And people have been saying this for a long time, especially the astrologers, like in order to move into what's next, in order to move into this next age of awakening, we have to release the past. You know, you have to have the tower moment before you can rebuild. And so there's this feeling like I'm getting in my mind, like the Wheel of Fortune card in the tarot is like there's something ending and there's something beginning. There's something ending and there's something beginning. I also, in these, there's spheres in these cards too. And this is, again, giving me the sense that this is more global than just this next new moon. I can't remember how long ago it was, but there was a period, I think it was right before the end of the year, which feels like it was like 10 years ago, but it was like not even a full month, where I said this next moon cycle is going to be like a microcosm of like what to expect. And this is coming back up again. Like this reading, we're reading for the new moon, for this next moon cycle that's just starting. But this is also a reading for like globally kind of what's coming up in the next year or more. So the last card, I'm just going to show this card with this card. So we have this Oceans card where this girl is sort of balanced on top of the world. And then we have this Gaia Gateway activation. And it says learning experiences, wisdom transmission, and earth intelligence. since I was a kid, I've been interested in epidemiology. I used to read books by Robin Cook. He's like a medical thriller writer. I don't know if he's even still alive. I got to meet him once. I got his autograph. I was about 8. And my mom was like, she's read all of your books like 10 times. And one of my favorite books by his is called Outbreak. And they made a movie of it, kind of, a couple different times, I think. And it's about this Ebola outbreak. And one of the things that I've always been interested in, I've been interested in like how diseases spread and how you can track pandemics and stuff, which seemed like weird and not relevant to most people. It's like just one of my neurodivergent interests until the pandemic. And I remember when the pandemic started and I was saying all these things to my coworkers at the ultrasound clinic I was working at the time. And at first they were like, you're crazy. None of that's ever going to happen. And then pretty soon they're like, well, what's going to happen after that? What's going to happen after that? And I was thinking last night about just how awful we've been to the earth. And the earth is intelligent. Gaia, the earth is her own being. Actually, they always tell me the earth is neutral, but a lot of us think of her as having a feminine energy. And she knows how to take care of herself. And she's not going to let us destroy her. She might let us destroy each other, which might actually serve her. And that sounds like kind of a dark thing to say. But from a cosmic perspective, I think it helps. I was just thinking about this last night. Sometimes when I get into like darker thoughts or like into that vibration of fear, I'm like, what is going on in the future? And like, I'm trying to make plans for my family and what are we doing? And it's like, we don't, like my husband and I are like, should we put new floors in or should we flee the country? Like, I don't know. And like, that sounds like a joke, but we're not, I mean, that is where a lot of people are right now, kind of mentally and emotionally. And it's a really hard place to be in. It's a very like unbalanced place to be in. Like here I am alone on the top of the world, just trying to keep it afloat in this ocean with like nothing but my sacral light, which for whatever reason I've disempowered. And so I was thinking, I was kind of getting into this like vibration of worry and fear and like, what does the future hold? And then I sort of remembered that I don't have to try to save the earth because she's her own being. I don't even have to try to save humanity because all I can do is work with my own vibration and hope that it ripples out enough to cause that light initiation, to cause or facilitate, not cause, to facilitate, to help along this great teacher awakening, this great awakening, so that more people will choose expansion. And this card to me is a reminder that the earth not only can take care of herself, I think she wants us to succeed. There's also, this is a portal. And I've been having a lot come up about portals recently. This is a portal. The lightning in the storm card is a portal. Right behind Thoth here looks like a portal. So every one of these cards has a portal in it. And a portal is just a door. And we get to choose. Are we going into a portal of the past? Are we continuing to repeat the same mistakes that we've made over and over again, personally and on a global collective level? Or are we going to choose to move into what in this card really looks like a pretty beautiful paradise? There's a path leading right up to it. All we have to do is walk through the door. But it requires us to be willing to learn. This says learning experiences, wisdom transmission, and earth intelligence. What can we learn from the earth? Indigenous people knew how to honor the earth, how to live in balance with the earth, how to receive love and support from the earth. And we have lost that in this capitalist society where everything is about business and money is speech and money is considered more of a valuable person than people are. The earth doesn't care about money. It's just paper. It's just a concept. This is a this is a deep reading. Deep readings by Paula Taylor, like Deep Thoughts by Jack Andy. And I don't mean this to be heavy. There is some heavy stuff happening right now, but this feels like a very hopeful reading to me. If this is our last card, I will freaking take it. There is a beautiful paradise awaiting us if we can just walk through this portal. If we can have the courage, if we can make it through the storm and make it through this like period that seems so topsy-turvy that it's hard to keep our balance, we have to be really focused, we can find a way to this path forward, which is the 5D, which is living with more unconditionality, with more love, with more inclusivity, with less this or that, black or white, us or them. That is the thing that really needs to go. That's at the root of a lot of these 3D concepts that are not serving us anymore. Every single person on earth has access to the lights in all of these pictures. We are beings of light. We are beings of vibration. We are beings meant to be in clarity, harmony, and expansion. And we have tipped the scale so far out of balance that it feels sometimes like an impossible task to find that balance, to find that clarity, that expansion, and that harmony. But we are being gifted with all of these portals of light, of transformation, of wisdom, ancient. If you look in these three cards, we have a light portal. This is an angelic portal. This is source energy right here. We have a portal into the past, into these sort of ancient civilizations that had a lot more knowledge than we did, and also had, you know, some of the same ego stuff we did, but we can learn from that without repeating some of the mistakes. And we have a portal to the earth herself. I think about some of the things that are going on, and I always wonder, like, again, last night I was thinking about the earth itself, and like, what does it matter who owns the most property if the property is unlivable because it has burned or flooded or been destroyed by storms? So for this next moon cycle, be aware of your relationship with openness and learning and wisdom. Are you open to new experiences? Are you open to new information? Are you repeating old patterns of this or that, us versus them, black versus white, light versus dark, 3D sort of entrenchment? Are you willing to open and invite in the wisdom that is all around us? It comes from above. It comes from below. It comes from the past. It comes from the future. We are surrounded by divine wisdom and light and love. We just need to allow ourselves to receive it. And that is perhaps the hardest battle. That is where this micro turns into a macro. If we cannot allow ourselves to receive love on an individual level, how do we create a more loving society? How do we create a more loving world if we can't get along within our own families, within our own communities, within our workspace? It's one of those things, it's a simple thing that's not an easy thing. I choose love. Sounds simple. It's not as easy as it sounds because of all of the nuance within this 3D reality. So as you set your intention for this new moon, this next moon cycle, just think about sort of where you've been, where you're going. How can you find more clarity within this fog, these storm clouds that may seem completely opaque? How can you choose to light your own fire? If you are tired, like me, what is it that reignites your fire? Maybe you need to turn off the extraneous distractions, however scary they might be, however engaged you want to be, if you have no fire to fight with, you're not going to be serving. So there may be a message here about turning inward or about finding community in a way that feels like you can ignite something, feels like you can find some support in balance and bravery. It feels like you can get access to this light energy, this expansion energy. I wasn't going to do a guided meditation, but I feel like I need to offer some expansion because I do think this was a deep reading. And sometimes deepness can feel heavy, and the energy has felt heavy. And I believe that it will continue to do so. And that is actually, I was going to say the test. That's not the right word. That is the task. That is the invitation. My eye is twitching. Getting all these weird confirmations today. How can I choose to ignite my fire, to expand, to invite light in, to support the earth to the extent that I can in my own individual being, regardless of what is happening around me? So, let's meditate together. Just a quick reminder, the Pleiadian activation is now available on my website. I was at that sound journey last night and I was sort of talking about what was coming up, and I could tell the person that hadn't been there, I got the sense that she thought I was being salesy, sort of trying to draw her into something. And that's the last. It's funny. It's a funny thing to notice because a lot of times I don't promote things because I don't want to come across as salesy, because I want people to choose for themselves. But there's a message coming in right now. People really, really need help. And this Pleiadian activation is a really good expander. It's a really good lightener to lighten some of this density, some of this heaviness. The Mintakan activations are really powerful, loving activations. Last night I started singing a song, did not know where it came from. Thought I was going to be channeling some Pleiadian, and I did a little bit. We'll do that in this meditation a little bit. But when I asked, what is this song? Where's it coming from? It was Lemurian. And it's interesting to me because I was not sure what activation I was going to do next. There's one more Pleiadian activation I have to do, but it may be Lemurian. And the Lemurians, a lot of Mintakans who left when the planets, when the water planet that a lot of us remember was destroyed, came here to what we now call Lemuria. And there was a golden age until there wasn't. But the sense I got when I started feeling into this was that the Mintakans, we never felt quite at home here. It was not the same because the water here is just water. The fluid of Mintaka is made of unconditional love. But we brought that unconditional love into Lemuria as much as we could. And so it did create a really loving vibration. And it's just interesting to me as more information comes to me, to see these little sort of lines getting drawn where it's the Emerald dialect of dimensional frequency expansion, which is an angelic group of angelic dialects of language, light language. Out of Emerald came Mintakan, out of Mintakan came Lemurian. It's kind of like being a word nerd and this came from the Latin and then it went to the French and now we use it in English. It's this idea of the evolution of these light languages, and I think they're all powerful and potent. And one of the things I felt last night in this journey was one of the cards I pulled for my crystal deck said "Soothe your soul," and it really felt like it was such a soothing and loving journey. So maybe this is going to be more of a little bit of a sound journey than a quote unquote meditation, because I just channeled my way into that. So for this experience, I do suggest you lie down. This is receptive. I just laid a lot of intense, deep stuff on you in this card pull. So allow this experience to be soothing, to be loving, to lighten some of that density. We do not have to buy into the opacity, to the muddiness, to the fear. We can expand around it. That is what the 5D is. The 3D doesn't go away. We expand around it. So get nice and comfortable, get cozy, grab a blanket, prop your legs up. Just allow yourself to receive. I still haven't found a good way to do virtual sound journeys, but Facebook has the best recording that I have encountered. So as you begin to allow yourself to feel heavy, think about receptivity and perhaps set an intention. Maybe you already have a new moon intention for this cycle, but perhaps add a secondary intention. I allow myself to receive. When we feel worthy of receiving anything, that is when softness comes in. That is when the love comes in. We cannot receive the love if we don't feel worthy of receiving it, if we can't allow ourselves to receive. So for the next 10 minutes or so, just allow yourself to receive. Take a few nice deep oxytocin breaths. Breathing in through your nose, letting the belly float out strongly, sighing that breath out with an audible ha sound. Ha. Allow yourself to receive a feeling of safety. As you breathe, as you sigh that breath out, as you allow your body to vibrate by making some sound, receive that sound, receive that soothing message within the nervous system that you are safe, that it is safe to receive, it is safe to relax, it is safe to let go of any tension you've been holding in your body. Ooh, yeah, say, yeah, yeah. Ooh, say, yeah, say, yeah, yeah. Ooh, say, my, ooh, say, Tia kataya takia takaya takia takaya takia takia takaya takia takaya takia takaya takia takaya kuta kataya takia taka kwea takataya katia takaya takia na kwea takatia takaya takia na kwea takataya takia taka kwe takanaya takia na ko takanaya na seisha takanaya kwe takanaya na kataya na ka. Open your heart wide now. Receive this loving vibration through any density, through any of that muddiness. Find the clarity that's coming in now. Allow yourself to receive this clarity. Allow yourself to receive this expansion. Allow yourself to receive this harmony. You deserve to receive, and allow yourself to feel that deep down, the soul level. Remember who you are. Remember what you are made of. Unconditional love and light. Quantum energy that runs this entire universe. Allow that vibration to come into your system. Let it flow into your body. Not just through the head, but receiving this beautiful love from the earth flowing up from beneath you into your body, filling your body with light, with clarity, with harmony. Manifesting expansion, manifesting love. Love begets love. So as you allow yourself to receive this love, you become a beacon of love and light. It ripples out to the collective. All you have to do to give to the collective is allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to be exactly who you are, to feel the energy you're made of, the love, the expansion, the joy. And as you allow yourself to remember and receive, you allow yourself to transmit that frequency on all channels at all levels. Being a beacon of light for others, a beacon of love. First for yourself, and then naturally, as you receive that, transmitting it to the world around you. This is your power. Just being, remembering your expansive, limitless vibration, connecting with your powerful heart space, opening this portal, streaming love and light out from the heart, first into your own system, filling your body, filling your energetic field, filling the space around you, your home, filling the circle of those around you with this love, overflowing so much so that this love beams out, filling your own cup, and then overflowing into the world around you with love, with light, with expansion and harmony. Staying in this vibration for as long as you'd like. If you're in a safe space to do so and you'd like to drift off to sleep, this would be a beautiful space from which to do so. If you're coming back to the rest of your day or evening, deepening the breath, allowing yourself to carry this vibration with you into the rest of your day, into the rest of this moon cycle, filling with love, remembering your light, allowing it to shine. Coming fully back to the conscious mind, to the body. Slowly moving fingers and toes, maybe shrugging your shoulders, moving head and neck around, coming back slowly through the rest of your day or evening. Take a few final deep breaths, sighing them out, adding that audible ha sound if it calls to you. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. It's really raining outside now. Cleansing. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember that even in the moments where you feel powerless, your essence, your energy, your light, your love is your power. That is your ignition switch. And all you need to do is allow yourself to receive it first. And then you will glow and transmit it into the world around you. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. I will see you on the next episode of Wind Down Wednesdays. No.